So now we have Sriram Rajagopalan, is that right?
I got it right.
Who will be presenting on Projecting the Leaders of Tomorrow, Impact of Project Management Principles to Your Younger Generation. He's an assistant teaching professor in the College of Professional Studies at Northeastern University.
How's everyone doing today? All right, that's much better. Stephanie, we got that moving forward. First of all, I would like to thank every one of you to come here and listen to this presentation. It's a great honor and privilege for me to present at ILA. What I'm going to be presenting here is about one of my initiatives that I had done and how it has evolved at this point and what I'm planning to do next with that particular episode. Now, how many of you were in the open plenary session where we were talking about, Apollo 13? All right, so quite a few hands. So I would like to start with a story. It's not as grand as Apollo 13, but it's still a story. And it's based on true events in my life. And I was in a parent-teacher workshop conference, about 10 years back, roughly about 10 years back. And the teacher was basically coming and saying like, okay, the students, what do you want to be when you grow up? Talk to me more about that. And the parents were pretty excited and thrilled because they are seeing their children coming and talking about what they want to be. Teacher was quite excited too because she's showcasing her work. As I was watching this whole thing, my son stood up and said, I want to be a project manager. And the teacher interrupted almost immediately and said, what, you want to be a fireman? No, project manager. Oh, policeman. And my son basically said, oh yeah, policeman, and did something and walked away. And everybody clapped and the event was over. But it started making me think. I went into this reflective inquiry within myself, like, it's a great profession. I'm in that profession. There is a big professional field outside called project management, and you are teaching project management, principles already, because you have a limited amount of resources. You have certain amount of time where you have to teach these students. So you have scope, you have schedule, you have cost, and all those things that are available within your reach, and you still don't understand the field of project management. So I was, shred to pieces at that point, and I started really thinking, okay, we have to do something more about this, and that's where my story started. My observations were primarily very simple. The students were really looking forward to something more. It's not just engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant. There is a lot more additional fields. Today there are fields that are, security officer, extreme journalism, linguistic journalism. So many different fields that are outside there. But our teachers at the high school level will still focus on this is the basic science, this is the basic math, this is what you need to know, this is how you need to know, and all those things. So I was beginning to go into this appreciative inquiry further again, and this is what the students today are about, talking about your I generation. A little story here. I showed my 12-year-old son the floppy disk, and he said, oh, you 3D printed. That's our world today. My son cannot relate to CD-ROM, and I told CD-ROM this is where all the information is stored, and he said, no, this is the one that you hang up for birthday balloons, next to the birthday balloons. He cannot relate to that, right? And now from that world, we have to meet their needs in their place. But are we? Right? That's when I started feeling like there is a huge gap. And for reasons beyond that I want to control over here or discuss over here, we are basically telling, meaning like the teachers, the professors, and all those members are telling like, this is what I am, this is where I come from, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to know, and I'm going to teach you this way. But the students on the receiving end are saying like, I'm seeing a different world. I'm not seeing the same different world. Yes, you are telling me a few things, but I'm seeing a completely different world. I'm interacting with a different set of groups. I'm different, all those members. How are you connecting this? So the bridge that we both are seeing is completely viewed from different angles. right? So I started feeling like that bridge is actually now not recognized. We are building walls rather than actually building the bridges. The bridge is actually getting unrecognized, primarily because the group of people that are teaching are coming from this generational gap that you were talking about, Stephanie. Generational gaps, all these generational gaps, this is what I think I did. I am successful, so if you do the same, you should be successful too, right? On the other hand, realities of time pressure. If they come and say, can you do this? Can you take me to a conference? Can you do, all these things to me? Oh, we don't have time. We don't have, all the time pressures of our work life. I come back and say, oh, this is it. I cannot do anything anymore to you. I didn't do this. When I had, when I was growing up, I didn't have access to internet. You have access to internet. Go Google or ask Alexa, your sister, get all the things done. Right? And then the next one is the inadequate cultural fusion. We are not seeing the amount of cultural fusion that these generations are seeing. At this point, 70 years back, 30, 40 years back, people were not traveling as much as they were used to right now. And they were not settling in different countries. I came from a different country and I'm settled over here. So I am seeing, the kids are growing up with, all the people from different races, different regions and all those things. We didn't do that. If I look different, I'm a foreigner. That's how it was supposed to be. But now there is a lot more inadequate cultural fusion that we are not focusing ourselves to, we are not exposing ourselves to. Right? But on the other end, from the students' point of view, they are more technically savvy. They're extremely technically savvy at this point. You go and tell them how do I want this? Oh, go ahead and check it in Google. Go ahead and find this here. I found out this place. I have to ask my son, I am here. I have to go to this particular place. I don't know how long it will take. It's going to take only about 30 minutes. How did you know? Well, I just asked Alexa. Okay, all right, so that's how technically savvy they are. On the other hand, attention span to engage is very less for them. You ask them something, that's it. I have to know this information. They want instant gratification. Ask something, the answer is coming out right now. Why do I have to do this, exhaustive study, research, and all those things? My son, he has to count the number of butterflies and write in a box. Number of butterflies, that's 13. So I spent a lot of time with him to count the number of butterflies, and he wrote 1. And he said, oh, ouchie, my hands are, I can't do this. And you look at me, now I've spent a lot of time pushing him, almost an hour to have him count 13 butterflies, okay, and write only 1 and not the 3. And he held my cheek like this and said, whether I write 3 today or tomorrow, it's still 13. Why do I have to write it today? I can write it tomorrow. Attention span is very small. On the other hand, yeah, impatient entrepreneur. I want to do something. I want to change the world. I want to go ahead and do something. Whether it's a Me Too movement or social engagement, whatever it is, that's how they're focused on. They want to be part of the solution. They don't want to be part of the problem. But their attention span is very engaged, small, right? So when you are looking for it from the youth perspective, the directions that we are all giving is not as bad as this. That it's going all over the place. Obviously we have got a lot of wisdom, a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge. So we are doing something right. Otherwise, they will be completely, lost. However, our direction to them is like this. Your next right turn is on the left. Mm-hmm. Right? And from the children's perspective, when you look at them, so or whatever, you're the boss, you control this, you're a parent, you're a teacher, so whatever it is, sure, whatever. So I started applying these things from my language, and I said okay, let me start up a new initiative. Introduce the concepts of project management to them, like scope, schedule, time, basically simple things like all those things. And I applied the learning basics, brought a few people, talked to a number of students, talked to a number of universities, number of high schools, but they were not willing, they were not immediately coming out. But I pulled a few people that were interested and said, okay, let's try these concepts. And I applied them with the lesson. So immediately we said okay, we need to come up with a small project to make people happy. What is that? So okay, we can't make all the people happy. I'm going to make my seniors happy. So we started working on that particular initiative, and people came up with beautiful ideas and all those things. The project that we did was, how do we make senior citizens happy? It was not like, doing all the big events and things like that, but basically during the Christmas and holidays time frame, go there and have this technology available for them, because the seniors were telling, I'm not able to talk to other people because I'm not technically savvy. Right? So we did this project. They were very happy. They did the interview. These 5 students, they did the interview, all middle school students. They did the interview. I was along with them and talked to them and all those things. Beautifully done. And they were all happy. Right? That was the initial instant gratification for them. But that also made me realize that there is a lot more to this. And I started plot. Right? Projecting leaders of tomorrow. What is plot and how do we do it? So the concepts of project management, I started introducing it at a very young age. Right? It's a temporary endeavor. How do you do it? How do you go about solving this problem? I started applying the knowledge and skills and tools. Right? As I did that, I introduced all these elements to them. Right? I'm not going to pick on each and every one of them because most of this information is pretty straightforward, but these are the 10 different knowledge areas, and these 10 different knowledge areas I started introducing to them in their own language. Right? So, let me move this fast forward. So meeting them at their needs. So ask questions about them. What does project mean to you? How does this apply to you? And then, what is this applicable to you from your own world in terms of critical leadership skills? And as they started thinking through, I'm not sure why this is coming up. The example conversation where I'm just going to pick up on something. You're going to go to a museum. You're going to do something on this particular day. How do you go about organizing them? Pretty simple. And that's how the whole conversation started coming, and we were able to move forward. So the 6 best friends, some of the tools that I started introducing are the 6 best friends. I'm just giving examples of the tools because not all the tools are available here. So I gave these kind of tools over to them and it moved forward. I did my own postdoctoral research, and out of that came a framework that I created called TONES, technical, organizational, negotiational, empowerment, and strategic. So I built these 5 domains into the knowledge areas as I started educating those members on these things. Also came up with my own curriculum on this one. So, I'm going to have people come and sit with me. So for about, 10 weeks or so, what are they going to learn everywhere in every step of the way? So it was fully structured, right? And as a result, we did one more project with more high school students, and the results were very, very positive. So I was able to have them write some information and publish it in project management journals. I was able to have them do some projects over there, using affinity diagram, brainstorming techniques and all those things, and we raised close to about $500 for Red Cross. Right? So all these things were very, very well received, and as a result of that, a few testimonials I wanted to share. From a parent's perspective, the parents who were with us, they were saying that, I am not a project manager, but I wish I can know all these techniques because I can benefit from these things too. And one of the person, wrote a blog article about fusion of generations, how project management really helped him in that particular quest. And the actual Red Cross Society basically started telling, you have started on, we have a great adventure, and please continue, and I know how I can support and all those things. I'm also right now working on a book which is going to be published most likely within a couple of weeks to a month, just so that I have enough, because I want to take this message further. Any questions?
Any questions at the end?
Okay.
Thank you. All righty.